Hi everyone, welcome back to the Girl Talk podcast. We have a really exciting guest today, Aghogho. Hi.
Hi.
Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's so good to have you on. I've wanted to have you on for ages.
Oh, thank you.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm so excited to be here and I'm just super duper excited for our conversation today. It's going to be so fun.
Yeah, I feel like there's so much to talk about. I'm like, I've got lots of questions. I don't know where to start. So we first met at an Apple event, actually.
Yeah.
Like, when was it now? Like a couple of months
Yeah,
ago?
It was earlier this year, wasn't it?
It's gone so quickly.
Oh my gosh, I know. Like, it's actually insane. But it's crazy because I remember when you walked in, I was like, no way. I know this girl.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because we got talking quickly as well.
Exactly.
And it was really nice.
It was really, really lovely.
Yeah. And like from that chat as well, I was like, I knew I wanted to, because I mentioned as well that I had this podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
And like, I knew I'd love to have you on as well. So yeah, I'm excited.
I'm so happy to be here. Shout out to Apple for bringing us together.
Exactly.
It was so fun.
Everything that I've seen in your content and like what you were talking to me about as well, I found so inspiring and just so interesting. And I feel like everyone will find it, it the same way as well. So you're a medical student and a content creator as well. And like, you've got your fingers in a few different pies, right? So I'd love to know, I know that's kind of a big question or premise, but I'd love to know, like, how do you find juggling all of that? Or when did you know you wanted to get into the medical sort of world?
Yeah, of course. It's so funny. I feel like almost everyone I meet asks me this question of how I juggle.
And then there's the whole like women thing, right? Of like, it shouldn't be juggling. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, you shouldn't have to juggle.
Literally, it's such a topical conversation. I think my last video was actually on that topic. But yeah, I think I get asked this question like at least once a week. So as you said,
again,
like, okay, what did we say last time? So I am a medical student. I'm in my third year of studying medicine out of 4, so I'll be graduating next year. And I've also been creating content, sharing it online for, I guess, the past 3 or so years, but really I've been making videos for over 10 years. I posted my first YouTube video 2015, and I started actually making videos when I was like 10 or so. So maybe like, like 15 years ago. I wasn't posting it on the internet.
But still, like, you're
Do you
already,
know what I mean?
exactly. There mentally. So,
Literally. And I think for a lot of people, when they see like creators, I suppose, finding success and doing things, they don't know how many years behind the scenes that you're actually working and how much practice goes into building that skill of being able to talk to a camera and stuff like that. But it's always been a passion of mine, like even before I got into medicine. But I suppose like going back to the beginning of my pursuit of medicine and the kind of dual career that I'm balancing between now, I decided I wanted to be a doctor when I was in secondary school. So I was around 14 years old at the time. Happened in a very funny way. I was literally in the hallway of school with my best friend at the time. And she just decided to tell me that, oh, I want to be a pediatric oncologist when I'm older. And I was like, what the heck is that?
That's literally what I was thinking. I was like, do you know what I mean? Need to ask
what is this big word that you're using? And she told me it's a doctor that takes care of children that have cancer. And I was like, oh, that's really, really interesting. And as of that age, I didn't really have a clear idea of what I wanted to do in the future. So I went home, looked it up, and I saw that, oh, this is a really interesting career. And I kind of went down this rabbit hole of all of the different pathways in medicine. So becoming like a general doctor, a cardiologist, so a heart doctor, and all of the different things. And I don't know, maybe because I always like science in school, something really just stood out to me about how I can kind of combine my love for science with my love of being able to help people and impact lives. So I put the two together, and that's when I started like my medical journey in a way. And I suppose the reason why my journey is a little bit more unique to that of others is I failed a lot of times before I got in. So I actually sat 6 medical entry admission exams before I finally gained admission. So it was like one fail, another fail, another fail, another fail. And it was like
it's difficult, but also amazing that you persevered, you know?
But I feel like in the middle, it doesn't feel amazing. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think people see, and I get a lot of, oh, you're so brave, or oh, I don't know how you kept going. And it's like, I didn't keep going. Like, I gave up a lot of times in the midst of that. Like, it was almost an 8-year time lag between when I decided I want to be a doctor and when I got into medical school. And yeah, like,
Yeah.
it's tough. And I'm
Long
sure you
time.
know yourself, like how it is when you really want something and things just don't go the way that you
Yep.
want it to.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
It's not how you envisioned it happening. Yeah. Yeah.
exactly. But with time, I guess I started seeing that, this isn't the typical journey that people who are in medicine tend to experience, because most people in medicine either have parents as doctors or something like that. I don't come from a family of any medics at all. I was figuring out a lot by myself. I used to literally email admin officers of universities to ask questions because I had nobody else. I didn't like go to a private school or anything where they
Yeah.
were able to help me. No one in my school was applying to medicine. So it was,
Really?
yeah, it
Wow.
was a very like isolating
Yeah.
experience. And when I finally got in, I kind of resolved I want to help people and inspire people that they can do the same. So that's when I started really sharing content online, like on a consistent basis. And the journey's been really, really fun since then. Like, I started
Yeah.
on TikTok. Well, actually,
Oh,
to tell the
really?
truth, I started on YouTube. Then I went consistent on TikTok, then Instagram, and
Interesting.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
So
been
usually it's like
like,
the other way around. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Most people is
Uh-huh.
kind of the other way. So
Yeah.
yeah, I've really enjoyed it so far anyways, and
Yeah.
that's kind
That's
of how I got
amazing.
started. Yeah.
Amazing. And it sounds like, when you got to the stage of like, you got in and then you, like that sort of fueled you then to like push out more content
Yeah.
to do with that as well. And it sounds like, oh, I always do that. It sounds like one kind of then, they were kind of fueling each other in a way. So that
Yes.
must be like, it's kind of good, isn't it? Because you've got like such a focus as well,
Yeah.
content wise. Because I feel like, and especially when you've been doing content, like I've been doing content a long time as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, because sometimes it can be like you get to a certain point with the content that you make, and then you can get a little bit stuck. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, that's
Exactly.
amazing.
No, it's like very niche,
Yeah.
I suppose, what I do. And at the beginning of my journey, I remembered like, I was like, should I start making fashion content, beauty content? Because that's what
Yeah.
everyone else is doing. But even before I got into medicine, I always knew that it just wasn't me, as in to just focus on those things. I love fashion,
Yeah.
love beauty, and I adore them. But I always felt like if I was to have a platform, I wanted to use it in a different sort of way. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like in a
Yeah.
way that maybe the normal person wouldn't like watch all of my videos, but someone very specific would, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? And
Yep.
like,
And
I've always been really like passionate about education and the likes of that. Like, I started a nonprofit earlier this year. Like,
yes, I saw about that.
yeah,
That's so amazing as
thank
well.
you.
That's amazing.
That's been a journey.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm excited to see where we go in the future. But all
Yeah.
of that has kind of just boiled down to that same desire of just wanting to impact people in a non-traditional
Yeah.
way, I
Yeah.
suppose.
Can you say a little bit more about that? Like
Yeah.
what's your nonprofit look
Yeah,
like?
of
Yeah.
course. So I'm the founder of a nonprofit. It's known as AWA, which is short for Achieve with Aghogho, and we are an education nonprofit. So what we do is every month we hold these online webinars, kind of seminars, but online versions where we give young people and like school-aged kids, university kids, the tools that they need in order to achieve academically and to reach their full educational potential. So our two kind of like big pillars are education and self-belief. We're kind of trying to help people to grow in both of those domains, because I don't think you can really ever achieve anything like in school or university if you don't believe that you can.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
absolutely. Yeah. That's what you need first, like inside, isn't it?
Exactly.
In order to maybe see yourself in that like role, or
100%.
in that
Because you'll
place, or
find like a lot of
yeah.
people who are failing in school or failing in exams in university, it's because they
Yeah.
don't think that they have what it takes to keep
Yeah.
going. And so they just stop. And I think I wish when I was younger, I had more of an awareness of that, because I think I wouldn't have been as quick to equate my failures to my identity. Do you know
Yeah.
what I
Yeah.
mean? And so since I really understand that, like from my experience, I want to help other young people, but like the vision for the nonprofit is to go global someday, be able to hold
Yeah.
in-person meetings, conferences, And I'm actually planning a conference to take place later this year, like in person,
amazing.
which
Yep.
is so exciting. But
very
just
exciting. Where would that? Do you know where you might do
in
that?
Dublin.
Yeah,
Yeah. Have to stay loyal to the home.
I forgot to mention that as well. Yeah.
Probably like, what accent
Based
is
in
this?
Dublin. No, it's lovely accent.
Thank you.
I love
So
that
is
accent.
Have you ever been to Dublin, actually?
I haven't. I really want to go.
Oh, I feel like you would love it.
Yeah, I really want to
like
go.
genuinely, I think Dublin is your vibe.
Really?
Yes.
Like me and my mum, we keep saying like we want to go.
Yeah.
Actually,
oh my
literally a
gosh.
few weeks ago, she was like, "Do you know what? I want to go to Ireland." And
Oh
like this
my
year, she was like, "Should we go
gosh.
in a couple of weeks?" I'm like, "Yeah."
No,
But
you should
I'd
really
love to
think
go.
of. I can give you a tour whenever you're
Yes,
around.
thank
No, like
you.
seriously, like I feel like you'd love it.
Like, I want to go.
Yeah.
And also, it's so close. It's one of those places, isn't it? That's like so. You know, when places are close to us, and we're like,
You're
well,
kind of
it's
like,
always
whatever.
there.
Exactly. It's like, no,
back to
I want to
it.
take the
Yeah.
18-hour flight instead. Humans.
Okay, so what have been some of your personal challenges over the last few years that you've had to face or overcome, or I guess you've sort of mentioned already?
Yeah.
And also, have there been any particular things that have helped you overcome them?
Yeah, that's a really wonderful question. I think, like I mentioned before, failure has been a huge challenge that I think is kind of it has shaped the journey that I have and like who I am today. It's a big part of who I am because my multiple failures is what made me kind of like have the understanding that when things don't go your way, it's not the end. And it's kind of life's way of almost showing you that there's something else here for you. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think, like a redirection or something like that. Or else maybe you're not ready for the thing that you really, really want. And I think when I was younger, like even when I think back on my first failures of not getting into medical school, it was tough. Like I really started to think, is there something wrong with me? Am I not as smart as I thought I was? Is this not the path for me? And I think that was a big thing because I've always been like one of those people who's weirdly obsessed with what's my purpose? What do I want to do?
Me too.
Do you know what I mean? Like, and it's
it's
like a rabbit hole.
Yeah, like getting a bit of a pushback. Could send you spinning in a way.
Exactly.
Right? But, and like I'm really interested actually. Like even though you had those setbacks at the time, what was it in you that kept you pushing? Did you have a feeling like no, this like you just knew this is your path, or was it just like pure determination, or like did the setbacks like make you just want to fight more? So
be like, no, you're not gonna stop me.
Not today.
Oh my
not
gosh,
tomorrow.
not today, Satan. Okay.
Sorry, that was a loaded big question.
No. I completely get it. And I've thought about that before. I think there were a couple of things. Number one, my dad was like both of my parents, but particularly my dad, he was a huge influence as to how I saw myself growing up. He used to always tell me, like, you're an all-rounder. That was the term that he would use. And he would basically say that you can do anything that you want to do. And I think
that's amazing.
Do you know what I mean?
Support, yeah.
The support and hearing that constantly growing up, like it kind of ingrained into me that no, just because something doesn't go your way doesn't mean that you're the problem. Maybe something else is to blame there. So I think, although I wasn't conscious of it, I feel like that was a huge subconscious influence. Another thing was the fact that I felt within me that there was nothing else that I could see myself doing.
Yeah.
And it's funny because as time has gone on, I actually wouldn't say the same thing. So it's interesting. Yeah.
It's like at that time, that's what you needed to feel, sort of thing. Yeah.
Exactly. I love how you put
evolved.
it.
Yeah.
It's evolved. Literally that. Because before being in medical school, I couldn't see myself in any other career. I didn't see social media as a potential career for me. I just knew I liked making videos for fun. I didn't think anything was ever going to really come out from it. I knew that I liked doing like speaking gigs and stuff, but I felt like no other field or profession was going to hit the spot for me in the same way that medicine would. And so I think that was one thing that pushed me. But another thing that I would say was a huge influence was actually my faith, like my faith in God. I would pray a lot and just kind of ask, what is it that I want my future to look like? Or what is it, God, that you have for me in the future? What is it that I'm supposed to do? Why was I put here on earth? Kind of going back to this whole purpose thing. And I felt like after a while of like, I spent almost, I'd say months, maybe even years, just praying that like, what is it I'm supposed to do? If medicine isn't for me, tell me what it is. And I just started feeling this strong, like, you know, that like gut, but strong feeling like this is what you are supposed to do.
Yeah.
Forget the obstacles you're facing, forget the challenges. It's this. So I think I would boil it down to
like makes me feel like, you know,
do you know what I mean? Like
yeah,
it was like a deep conviction inside of me, like you're supposed to do this. And it's mad because now, like I said, I follow down that route. And now that I'm in it, I can see myself doing other things. But what's so interesting, Sammy, is, or what's so interesting is I've had people from all over the world message me saying, because of your story of not getting into medicine, I decided to try again. And now I've gotten accepted. Like, I can't count how many people have said that to me. Do you know what I mean?
Feel amazing, right?
It's so surreal. Do you know, like sometimes I think about it and I feel like each of my failures was for another group of people.
Yeah.
Do you know? Somebody needed to hear, oh, it was 2 times for them or 3 times for another. And some people are like me in that it was 5 times that they failed. And it's like, they want to see that if she could do it, I can as well. So it's funny how life kind of...
It's so amazing. Yeah. Because that's like maybe another purpose as well, isn't it? Of like what you went through because it ripples out to so many other people.
It does.
Isn't it so? Sometimes I feel like it's so amazing where like we happen to be born at this time where we have social media and everything.
Yes.
Because even though there's a lot that can be problematic about it, it's like you can also like ripple out to so many people.
Literally.
You know what I mean? Like have an effect. That's so crazy, isn't it? Like having an effect on other people's lives who like you'd never know. Like,
and you wouldn't like even yourself as a YouTuber, you don't know how many lives that you've impacted, as in how many people saw your videos and said, okay, I want to start making videos. Like I said, I was watching your videos like 10 years ago. I don't know if I told you this when I saw you at the Apple event, but I used to watch your videos a lot as a kid. And
oh my God,
no, like seriously. I'm like, this is such a full circle moment. But it's so mad because you were just doing that, living in what felt natural and purposeful to you. And you don't know how many young girls at the time that you just being yourself was pushing them towards, oh, maybe this is something that I could do as well, or maybe this is a passion that I can explore. And I really say that because like I come from Ireland, and in Ireland, content creation is it's nowhere near how it is in the UK. So like when I was like 15 or so, nobody was doing it over there. So it was only people in the UK that I had to look to. Of course, Americans have always been doing it, but even that thing of somebody in another country who has no one in their local vicinity to be able to look to, and then they see another Black girl who's doing amazing things and who is putting themselves out there. It's all of these like hidden things, like you know what I mean?
Ideas, like,
exactly. Adding up. And I don't know, I think impact is so interesting because you can't trace how you're going to impact people, but it just happens.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah. Oh my God,
Cool.
thank you.
So shout out to you, girl.
To you.
Oh my gosh.
So, do you know, after each thing we talk about, I'm just like, I'm like, okay, no, I need to go on to the so I guess kind of like going off, you know, we're talking about like social media and then the technology and things. And so were you like, I was always a bit of a nerd as well. Like were you a bit like that as well? Were you like quite computer as well? Like but you said like you were, you know, kind of making content from like 10 or so.
I mean, when you say like, nerd, like what do you mean? I'm like,
elaborate.
Tell me more about that.
I don't know. Do you know what? Because I'm thinking about, because I wanted to ask, like, has there been any particular products or anything that you use at the moment that have like, you know, help you in content creation and everything at the moment? So are there any products or anything at the moment that you've been like enjoying that help you in your content creation?
Yeah, absolutely. As in like, I suppose at the very beginning of my journey, I was just using whatever I had. So I remember, do you get me? Like it was like literally whatever I can get my hands on is what I'm going to pick up and use. And I remember when I was younger, I used to ask my parents for little cameras. So I guess in a way, you're right. I was a nerd. Like I used to be like, please give me this camera for Christmas. And do you know the bad thing? This is why I also couldn't say I was a nerd, because I clearly didn't understand how these things worked. I would buy a camera have an SD card, and I didn't realize that you can offload them. So as soon as whatever SD card I had would run out of space, I would think that's all.
Oh
Like
God.
I would think, oh, I need to buy a new camera. And so that's what
my
I did.
I'm done. That's done.
I'd be like,
now.
okay, I need to buy a new one now. And so I wonder, like, my parents were probably like, why is she asking for so many?
This is an expensive hobby.
Very expensive hobby. But like, thankfully, I was getting like the cheap ones, like nowhere near what we use now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, it's progressed so much, hasn't it? That like,
so
but it wasn't the
much.
same back then.
Not
like
at all. Like I was like, I think I grew up in the Tumblr generation, if you get me, where it was all about aesthetic pictures. So I started out with like photography, I suppose, with these little mini cheap cameras that my parents were able to get me. But then as I realized how much I enjoyed YouTube and enjoyed kind of video content, that's when I kind of ventured into the more like techie space. And I decided to kind of look into products that were able to fuel my creativity more. And I remember there was a time when a laptop that I had broken. So this was during my university days.
Yeah.
And a friend mentioned to me, she was like, I think you should get a MacBook because you seem to be someone who will do creative things in the future. And this was really like, it's really interesting because at the time I wasn't making YouTube videos. I wasn't doing any of that. So I'm looking like, how did you know? Do you know what I mean? Like, how did you know? Because at the time, all I needed a laptop for was like my education and stuff like that. And I don't know, what she said really stuck by me. So a couple of years went by and one of my laptops kind of basically broke in the middle of my final year of my undergrad degree. Yes, which was a nightmare. Like, I was like, oh my gosh. And I kind of told myself, you need to invest in a good laptop once and for all, like instead of buying all of these cheap things over time.
Long lasting.
Exactly. And I decided to purchase a MacBook. And it's funny because the first MacBook that I owned, it was a MacBook Air, and I bought it by winning a competition. Like,
really?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. So I won this like competition on Twitter at the time, and they had like €1,000 like cash prize for winning. So I used the entire thing to invest into a MacBook. And it was like, that was the beginning of my journey when it comes to creativity, because I never had access to like editing apps. I started using Final Cut Pro. I think I used the trial first, and then I went on to do the actual, like buy the actual software itself. I started being able to edit thumbnails because I had a powerful enough device to be able to do that, such as like using, apps like native apps on the App Store and other apps as well. And generally speaking, it just helped me to do so much, like not only with my creativity, but my education, even my business. So I didn't mention this, but I have a small business where...
Yes, I was going to ask about this as well. Go on.
It blends in. So I designed this basically annual planner, and I sell it pretty much every year. Yeah, it's like a digital planner. And
I haven't done it digitally.
Oh my God, you should try.
I think that would be my
next. Are you more of a physical, like...
I'm
actually
both.
Okay.
Yeah, I like to do both, which is like maybe a little bit weird.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I feel like, do you know what it is? Actually, I feel like, so for dates and things like that, I like it to be digital.
Okay.
But more like to-do lists and things like that. I'm physical. I feel like it helps me get out of my head, like when I'm writing.
100%.
I don't know. I could switch over to all
You could try it, like, and just see how it goes. Because for me, I bought like a lot of physical planners, and I found that, number one, I didn't like carrying them around with me because I'd always have to remember, I need to bring my planner. And because I'm always with a device anyways, I wanted something that I could just quickly open up, whether it's on my iPad or on my MacBook Air. So I would kind of go between the two. And I decided anyways that I wanted to create something that would help people better manage their time. And I used my MacBook to completely do that, like from scratch. Like I started by watching YouTube videos on how to build a planner. Yeah, it was so it was so impromptu. Like I didn't have a guide as to how I was gonna do it. So I was literally figuring everything out. But I did that. I used Canva to build it out, and then I used certain apps like on the like MacBook device itself to build it out, add links, and then I put it out there for people to to buy.
Okay.
So
I'm going to link it down below.
Yeah, oh, thank you.
For sure.
It's been good. I feel like for myself, like when I think about where I am creatively, it's kind of mad because I don't know if I would be able to even have my career as it is today if not for my MacBook.
Yeah, for those.
I don't know about you, like when it comes to editing videos, I don't know if you do short form content as well.
Yeah.
Would
I
you
do a bit of both.
Okay,
Yeah.
would you be prone to like editing on your phone or your laptop or?
I do a bit of both actually. I think sometimes it depends what piece of content it is.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I do them on my phone, or sometimes I'm like, I just feel like having more space to work with, even for the short form.
Yes.
Yeah. So I put it over onto like Final Cut Pro.
Yeah.
And then I'm editing on there.
That's exactly.
But yeah,
it.
it's nice to have. It's nice to have the choice and the flexibility.
Yeah.
But no, you're right. You know, like in the way that you can do so much more all at once. So it like speeds everything up.
The reason I even asked is because I used to only edit on my phone, like for the first year or so of my career, like in social media. And then one day, I think I saw somebody I follow, like a creator I follow. She posted herself editing on her MacBook.
Yeah.
And she is an exclusively short form creator. And I was like, people edit short form on the MacBook. I was like, okay, let me just
like
let
why?
me try this. Do you know what I mean? Like literally, why would you do that? And then I did it and I was like, this is so much more enjoyable. Like I like the fact that the screen is so much bigger. I like the fact that like what I tend to do is I'll have my phone in one hand, I'll have my MacBook in like maybe on the desk in front of me, and maybe at times like maybe I want to see what the voiceover I'm going to sound like, or the voiceover I'm going to use will sound like on top of the visual clips I already have. I'll play it on my phone. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll scroll through TikTok or Instagram looking for a sound that will resonate. And I'll let my video like play on the MacBook at the same time, like without sound, so that I can see, would this suit it? Or would this one suit it? And I don't know, I just find it so much more, so much more fun. The continuity as well. Like, I don't know, I used to like, I didn't always have an Apple ecosystem. So it was kind of like quite literally, this is what I would do. I would email things to myself.
Yeah, I've had to do that before as well. Oh my God. And now you can just airdrop.
Exactly.
It's amazing,
perfect.
isn't it? This is like kind of deep-ish.
Okay. I love the deep questions.
Okay, good. Okay. It's not super deep. It's just so I was wondering, so do you think you have any particular character traits like within yourself that you feel like have helped you to get where you are?
Yeah, that's interesting. It's always interesting describing yourself.
I know. You're like, actually, yes.
I'm actually the queen of the world. I would say like strengths that I think I would have in terms of like character traits is probably number one, I'm very, very adaptable. Like, do you know what I mean? And I think in our industry particularly, you really, really need to be like, you cannot be the type of person that's like, this is all I'm going to do. And I'm never going to pivot from it. I'm never going to try something out or try something different. So I think for myself, that's one thing I can like credit myself for. Like whether it's, should I join this platform? Or if it's, should I try this type of content form that people are like, trying and succeeding in? And I think not only does it apply to content, but even within my general career, because I would say when I think about my career as a whole, it's really difficult for me to put myself into a box because I don't fit into the typical medic persona. I don't fit into the typical content creator persona. And that's why I can't even give my full attention to either because both of them are such massive parts of my life. But I think it has helped me in that regard because I don't feel completely glued to anything in particular. Like I'm somebody who kind of like water. I'll go wherever I'm taken, wherever life is taking me. And I think it's just an important trait to have in such a world that's changing so much, and like you mentioned earlier, evolving so much. You don't want to get left behind. And
that's
I remember,
what I was gonna say,
do you know what I mean?
Saying,
like I'd say you've also experienced the same yourself.
Like I tried to as in that's a trait that I tried to have or to like play out as well.
But I think you do. I mean, like you're here like with a podcast, do you know?
Here I am.
That's something that a lot of
Yeah,
people don't do, and it's
you know,
relatively new. So
yeah.
that's huge.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think, when it's like we can be hard on ourselves sometimes.
I know.
I think I always try to be adaptable, but then it's like, I mean, there's so much going on in the online world, like all at once, isn't there? So I think sometimes I'll be like, am I doing enough? Like, am I adapting well enough? But it's like, you can't just get stuck in that cycle, you know?
You can't. Exactly. You have to keep going. So I don't know. I think it is like that. And I think we need to like tell more people, like, it's okay to not just do one thing forever, or to not make up your mind. And I think in such a like world where everyone is super duper corporate, and within that system or way of things, it's very much so get up the ladder, and you have to stay within this particular way of being to get there.
Yep.
I just don't think that I personally subscribe to that, But I think another thing that I would say, just to add, is I think resilience is something that I would say has helped me get to where I am, because, well, whether it's to do with the failures of medical school or generally just meeting challenges in different aspects in life, I think it's so important that you do have that ability to stand and to not like say, okay, this isn't for me just because it doesn't work out. Even in creating, like, you get used to, for example, getting a certain amount of views all the time, and then all of a sudden the algorithm decides we don't like you anymore.
Actually, no.
Literally, it's like,
and then it's like,
literally,
and
then what do you do?
You have to like, try to not take it personally, right? Yeah,
which can
just
be
like
so
keep
hard.
going. You're like, keep going.
You have to believe in your value enough to keep pushing.
What's your favorite part or favorite parts about what you do in like, any of the worlds?
Okay. I like, without a doubt, I think just being able to impact people and truly being able to help people see themselves better. That's really what I think is my favorite thing, because I don't really see my presence either online or even just existing in medicine as being all about me and, I want to share my story. Often what I'm trying to do is to let someone be able to identify a part of themselves in me, so that they can then feel like, actually, I can do this, or I can go after this. Like, even myself, like, realistically speaking, being a Black girl in medicine is, at least from where I'm from, it is relatively new. I didn't have role models. Do you know what I mean? I didn't have people to look up to when I was younger. That's why I was emailing admin officers of universities, because no one around me could kind of guide me. Do you know what I mean? My family wasn't connected to people within that regard. And I think I consider it such a privilege that I can be that for someone in the UK, in France, in Ghana, in Nigeria, and Canada. Like you said, this social media age is so special, because we can do that. Like, you don't know what you're able to do for somebody else somewhere in the world. And sometimes they'll never even tell you. They'll never comment.
I know. Sometimes you'll never have any idea.
Exactly. But that's what means more to me than anything else, because I don't know. I think one of my biggest pains is seeing people with untapped potential and letting that potential die. Like, I think it's such a, like, probably one of the greatest misfortunes that human beings experience, when you have something within you, but whether it's fear, or whether it's a lack of self-belief, or whether it's maybe the voices in your life are saying things to you that are discouraging you from going after what it is that you want. I think it's such a shame that certain people end up succumbing to that, and they're not able to like rise out of it, and then they end up just living a life that is pretty like below
like
what they want.
It's okay, but it's not.
It's not what they really.
Could,
exactly that. So I think my favorite thing, whether it's in medicine, social media, or through the education field, is to just be able to help people see themselves better. And if that's what I can have written on my tombstone, I'll be happy. Do you know what I mean?
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And you give such representation, like in the field as well, which is amazing.
It's so important, representation.
Yeah.
Like, literally one of my favorite words, because I don't think people really like get it.
I understand the importance and the weight of it.
The weight.
Well. Yeah.
Literally. Yeah. I mean, you see it even in kids, like seeing somebody that looks like them on TV, or a character, or like, do you know what I mean? These types of things, they're huge. We didn't have dolls that looked like us. At least I didn't when I was younger, when I was a kid. And now suddenly we do. No, I think representation is so important, and it's so important that people are able to see not only themselves represented in terms of like their skin color or their gender, but also the background, the type of background they've come from.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? Like this space isn't just for people like this. Like it's for you too. And I think especially in fields like medicine where there is a lot of elitism and a lot of,
I bet,
do you know what I mean? A lot of, oh, my parents did this, my grandparents did this, my great-grandparents did this. It's so important that we have people who understand what most of the general public lives like. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think whether it's medicine, law, engineering, whatever field it is, politics, it's so important that people see that I belong in this space too, and it's not just for like the 1% or etc.
Exactly. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
That's so true.
It's crazy, you know.
One of my other questions as well was going to be like, because I feel like we're kind of brushing on it, but like, is there anything, like, what would you say to someone who might be looking to get into the types of fields that you're in, or like that sort of world, or even if it's the content creation or the medical field?
I think what I would say is, do not let fear stop you. I think it's really, really important to address the fears that you might not even be aware that you have. Like whether it's in content creation or you're aspiring for something like medicine, I think something that I hear a lot of young people say is, I just don't know if I can do it. Or they say things like, I'm waiting until I have this equipment and I have, maybe I've built a following to this amount and then I'll start doing this. Or if it's in medicine, it tends to be things like, I don't think I'm smart enough. I'm not sure if I'll fit in. And it's like, these are all things based in fear. And if we're not careful, fear can be that thing that stops us from achieving our full potential. Do you know what I mean? So what I would say to these people is, please believe in yourself and please believe that whatever you have at present is enough. I always say that to people who are actually pursuing content creation, because so many people say things along the lines of, I want to get a camera first. I want to get like microphones first. I need to change my room setup first. I need to book a studio first. And it's like, just you don't.
You don't have to,
Do you know what I mean?
And like, I feel like even more so these days, especially with TikTok, it's like people like the more natural, you know, like a bit more like calm sort of looking content anyway, as opposed to like
well
overproduced.
Exactly. No, like seriously.
Such a weird world. Honestly, it's like 1 week they like that, you know, the algorithm likes that.
Oh my gosh, it's always changing. It's like,
but yeah,
you can't live for it.
It's true. Like at the end of the day though, it's like, it's the person, it's whatever the person is. Isn't it, like creating or talking about or showing?
Exactly.
Just do it.
Just do it. You're the one who's bringing value to whatever sphere that you're in. It's not necessarily about anything else. It's about you. One of my closest friends, even in this creator niche, she didn't buy a camera until she hit 100K.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And she's a YouTuber.
Yeah. What?
Yes.
Mate, doing it on the phone?
On her phone.
That's amazing.
And she hit 100K.
Yeah.
With that alone. As in, I remember when she told me that and I was like, oh my gosh, like nobody has an excuse.
Yeah.
Like quite literally.
You hear us.
You hear us. Do you know what I mean? Like use what you have. I'm such a strong believer in that in every regard. Like, is it that you want to start a business? Use what you have. You don't need to have capital of 10K saved up before you're able to go out and start that thing. Just start with what you have. I think we're hearing more and more success stories more recently of people who just decided to use whatever it is that they had within their pool of resources, or they weren't afraid to ask for help. I think I would always say to people, like, especially in the realm of business, like, just be resourceful and don't look down on yourself as to, I have to have it all figured out and I have to, you know, have a perfect plan. Like, I don't know.
Have to know everything.
Exactly. Oh my gosh.
Like, you'll learn as you go along.
Thank you. I was literally about to say that. Like, you will learn as you go. Like, don't think that you have to have everything kind of polished and clean, because the thing is, you'll have it all polished and clean and then you'll start and something will be wrong anyways. Do you know, like
life will, you know what I mean? Like life sort of will throw things at you on the way, isn't
100%.
it? Like 100%. will be a challenge to get over. Yeah. It's just part of it.
It's just part of it. And I think even apps show that themselves. Like apps constantly have updates. And they're still successful.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like there's always going to be something better for you to improve on or for you to get to, but you need to start with your current version. I think that's really, really important because too many people are, I would say, hindered by fear, limited by it, almost paralyzed by it because they think that everything has to be a certain way. And it's just like, it really doesn't. Like, it really doesn't. So I don't know. Like I really just want people to stop making excuses.
Yeah.
Stop making excuses, please. Just do it.
Thank you. I love that advice. Honestly, I feel like you're talking to me as well because I feel like I feel like with most people, right, it's like there's that thing that you want to do or, you know, it's in the back of your head.
100%.
And I find that I keep having like the same idea coming back. And kind of going back to what we were saying like near the beginning or what you were saying in that like God sort of telling you like, no, this is like your purpose sort of thing. Exactly. I feel like when I keep having the same idea coming back, I'm like, okay,
you know, have to pay attention.
I know it is that because otherwise it wouldn't still be, it wouldn't keep,
100%. Oh, I'm such a strong believer in that. Like, I think that's how I know for myself that it's God speaking to me because why won't this thought be? Funnily enough, that's actually how my content creation journey began. Like, which is, for some people might sound kind of strange, but I remember at the time I was very young. I was 14 years old and I was, again, like back then I was pretty obsessed with my purpose and I was like, I want to figure out what I'm called to do here on earth. And although now I have a different definition of purpose, I don't think anyone is put on earth to do just one thing. I think we have multiple purposes and our purposes
throughout
change.
time.
Exactly. They change with the different seasons of life that we're in. But I remember at the time, I was really, really like, what is it that I want to do? And I spent a lot of time praying, about it back then. And I'm a Christian, so I was at this like retreat. And at the time, I remember I heard it, like, it sounds so bizarre, but I heard it so almost audibly. Like,
I've heard this before.
Really?
I've heard people have this sort of thing experience before.
And I literally hear almost audibly, start on YouTube.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like literally, that's what I heard, start on YouTube. I felt like my purpose was to do with speaking. That's what I like literally felt. And then I heard that right after, start on YouTube. And at the time, I was petrified. Like, it's super funny because who I am now is very different to who I was growing up. I used to deal really badly with social anxiety and with paranoia. Those were like my two biggest challenges. Yeah.
You never
like,
know.
Exactly. That's what I'm
crazy.
Oh, me like 10, 12 years ago would not believe you if you were to tell me that I agreed to go on a podcast. Because I couldn't even call like pizza to make an order. No, it was really, really, really bad. It kind of like it really destabilized. It was so crippling. And so imagine being that type of person and then hearing start on YouTube. I was like, what? No. It was horrible. And so do you know what I did? Because I felt it so strong and I had heard it so clearly, I made a YouTube video maybe 2 weeks later, didn't share it with anybody. I just said it like, I was like, I'm just doing it for the sake of being able to say I listened to what I heard, right? And then maybe like 2 months later, funnily enough, not even my enemy, one of my best friends in school finds my video and she's like, oh my gosh, I found your YouTube video. So cool. Like, and she wasn't insulting me. Like, she was praising me and encouraging me, but I felt so embarrassed. Like, I was like, no way. How did she find it? Like, it's not even my name. So how on earth did she come up?
They always find them.
Always find them. Like,
they always find it.
You can't hide, no matter what it is. You can't. And so I remember I was like,
you can't post publicly in peace.
No, seriously.
It's like, this is for the world, but not for
it's
that.
Like, no, just for these particular people. Nobody I know in real life. Oh my gosh. So I felt so embarrassed. And that same day, I put the video on private and I was like, forget this.
Really?
I was like, I'm not doing this. I can't deal with the fear of people coming up to me and saying so and so. And so, and so after that, like, this is the mad thing as to what you just spoke about. For years, it would not leave my mind, Sammi, as in I constantly felt like you're supposed to be on social media. And it got to this 5-year mark, 2020. And I was like, why do I still feel so strongly about this? There's no other thing that's ever entered my mind that I've been able to say has looped around like this. And it's not like I particularly liked talking to a camera. I did not like video editing at the time. So I couldn't get like the reason I felt such a pull to do this thing. And now I'm like, well, at the time I decided, okay, let me try. Look, like, God, if you really want me to do this, I'm just going to do it and we'll see what happens. I didn't know that. Look, like years
and then
later,
see what happens.
see what happens.
Yeah,
like, I was
That's
able
amazing.
to, I think within a year, my TikTok went from like 800 to maybe 160K. And that that wouldn't have ever happened had I not heard that start on social media and decided to just give it a try. So I'm saying that to you because I don't know what it is that's going through your mind, but pay attention because you don't know what it's gonna like, what it will result in the future, which is exciting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it. I need to do it all.
Do. How about this podcast? Like, can I ask what made you decide to start it?
This podcast. So I feel like, I was doing like girl talk videos before. And so I feel like it felt like a natural progression from, I mean, it still is on YouTube at the moment, obviously, but it felt like a natural progression. And also I felt like, again, like obviously I've been making them for quite a few years just by myself, but then I really wanted other people's voices on as well, to learn more about, it's so amazing hearing your story, you know what I mean? Like everything, like all this wisdom, do you know what I mean? That you're sharing as well. And I just wanted, to bring others on it as well. Do you know what I mean? Because like we were saying before as well about affecting other people's lives.
Of course,
that's my aim as well with the podcast. Amazing. I feel like I'm like plugging my
as
my
you
podcast
should.
On the podcast.
You guys all should be sharing this podcast.
As you should. It. Like I love that feeling as well, of feeling like you've made some sort of impact in people's or women's, or even though it's called Girl Talk Podcast, obviously it doesn't have to just be for women. But so that's my aim as well with the podcast. So
I think it's so important to like kind of identify that why as to the thing that you're doing, you know, because when you know that, it's what keeps you going, and it's what, like, even if you can figure out what the why might be to that thing looping in your head, it might push you as to, okay, no matter how this goes, I'm just going to try and we'll see what happens. And I think something for me that helps, and this might be a tip even for anyone who's watching, I'm a big believer of putting pressure on yourself when you have like an idea or something it is that you really want to do. So I'll say, for example, when I decided that I wanted to start AWA, the nonprofit, I was very back and forth about it because, funny enough, I had spent the past, honestly speaking, years like planning on starting this particular organization. And I wanted to first start it in my first year of medicine, but I spoke to some of my seniors, as in professors at the time, kind of like mentors in a way, told them my idea. And I had a very, 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 like one of my favorite people ever, sweet lady, tell me that your ideas are amazing, but this might not be the time because you do need to focus on medicine and at least settle down, because it had only been a few months of me being in the course. And thankfully, I took the advice, and she was absolutely right, because I think I would have crumbled if I had started it back then. But that was the inception of the idea. Like, I always had this thing of, I want to go around inspiring young people, not only by myself, but through other people who have success stories from humbler backgrounds, to be able to believe in themselves through those stories that they heard. And so it's been playing in my mind literally for years and years and years. And last year I wanted to hold kind of like a conference like I'm doing now, but I left it too late. And then December came around and I started really feeling like, you are supposed to start this thing. Like, I think now is the time. And so I said to myself, okay, 2025, I wrote it down, like it's still on my like goals for 2025, that I would host at least 4 seminars this year. And I said at least one of them should be in person. I didn't have an idea of the structure. I didn't think I was going to create a nonprofit to do it. I was just like, I'm just going to find a way to do it. And so January 1st comes around, and I know this is going to sound insane, but I was like, cool, this is something I said I want to do. I need to give myself a deadline. So what I said was, I'm going to try and start doing this on hopefully a monthly basis. We'll see how the first month goes. If it goes well, we'll continue. If it doesn't, then at least I tried. And I basically gave myself 1 week to do it. And do you know how I put the pressure on myself?
Yeah.
I released tickets without even thinking of what I'm going to talk about.
Really?
Like I had decided on a general topic that I was like, okay, I'm going to talk about this, but I had no other preparation besides that. I created an Eventbrite page. Shout out to Eventbrite because they had this like AI create page for you type of thing. So I didn't even have to do most of the work. It just did it for me. I put it out there and all of a sudden people started signing up, as in like it was sold out within maybe like 15 minutes, and there was there was like 400 tickets sold within that space of time, and I was shocked. Now though, because that pressure was there, it was like, okay, you can't let these people down, you better start preparing for this. And
but accountability, isn't it?
Accountability, it's huge. So I don't know, like you should maybe think about it, because that's also how I did my driving test. Like I kept postponing it. I just booked it.
Really?
Literally just booked it. And now it's like, okay, now you have to.
No,
I failed it. Choice. I failed it the first time.
Me too.
But it worked. It worked eventually.
No, I love that.
So it's good sometimes with some positive pressure.
Because I am that kind of person as well that will be like, no, you know, like when I'll tell myself I've got time. I've got time. No, like you do, but you also don't.
You also don't.
Also like get things done, because time goes so quickly.
Oh my gosh, 100%. And like, I'm a huge believer in time sensitivity as well. Like, I think I've kind of learned this sometimes the hard way, but certain opportunities only have a time window, like only have a particular time window. You'll find like even in the early days, I'm sure you know yourself from YouTube, there was a time where it was easier to grow versus now where there's so many people in the space. Does it mean it's impossible? No, but it's a bit more difficult than it had to have been. Like, had you acted at the time when you wanted to. Same thing with TikTok. When I started posting on TikTok, there wasn't that much people doing it. So it was really easy to grow. Whereas now, the algorithm is so different. So I think with everything, even when it comes to like jobs, like if you missed a deadline, you can no longer apply to the job. So I don't know. I don't really believe that anything is like too late per se, but I think there's opportune time windows to do certain things, and you just can't miss out on them. Like I've definitely missed out on some in the past. I always think if I did start my YouTube in 2015 and was consistent, who knows what I would have been doing by now. But I did eventually start a couple of years later, and it ended up working out. But I don't know. I just feel like when you have an idea, do something before it kind of, do you know what I mean?
Have you read, there's this book I read ages ago called Big Magic.
No, I haven't heard of it.
It's and I think it's by Elizabeth Gilbert or something. But anyway, you've just reminded me of that book, because it has the kind of idea of it is like ideas are like energies in a way. And it's slightly different, so we're talking about like time, but also with ideas, it's like an idea can sort of come along, and then it's sort of waiting for you to act on it or to bring it to life. And then if you don't really act on it, or you know what I mean, like work on it in that time frame, it's like, okay, it moves on to someone else who will sort of pick that up. And you just remind, and that's always stuck in my mind. I feel like it's such an interesting
That's so
way.
powerful.
Yeah. And I guess it's kind of like God as well in a way, isn't it? Like giving
something to you. You have to do something with it. It's so crazy you say that, because I also read a book that talks about the same thing, but they phrase it in a different manner. So I'm sure you've heard of The Richest Man in Babylon.
I think so.
It's like a really kind of like, it's a tiny book, but it's a personal finance book. And I needed to read it at the time that I did. Because it's basically like, it's almost posed as a fictional book. So it tells a story. So it's not like one of those usual personal finance books that's like, you need to do this or you need to do that. Everything is told through the lens of basically how this, I don't know if he's a real person or not, but the richest man of Babylon actually lived. And one of the things they talk about is this thing called like kind of the opportunity fairy or something like that. Really? I don't know if he phrases it like that, so let me not misquote the book. But it talks about this thing of how opportunity awaits the prepared. that's how it says it.
Ooh.
Like,
Yeah, I
if
like
you
that.
want
Yeah.
to do something, opportunity is always there, but only for those who are prepared. So
Yeah.
it gives like a great story about it, of how there was a man who, I think he had, like, this is super duper simplified, but he was a farmer, and there was a man that he met in the middle of the night who had something like 100 sheep that he wanted to sell him for a really good price, say for, let's just say for £50, right? And these were really good quality sheep. And this man, he was going back and forth and thinking, should I not? And then he says to the man who's selling the sheep that, okay, do you know what? I'm going to sleep on it and I'll get back to you in the morning. He wakes up in the morning, and by the time he goes to look for that farmer or the person who was selling it, somebody else has already got to him. And he bought those sheep for like the same amount of money. So say it was £50. And now he approaches him and he's like, no, if you want to buy these from me, it's £1,000 now.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like,
Yeah.
had I acted within the time that I was supposed to, I would have gotten something that would have turned into like a lot of wealth for me. Now I'm telling the story really badly, so maybe just read the book.
It makes
Maybe just read the book. But it honestly, like, that book, it's so tiny.
read that.
I really recommend
Yeah.
it. Like, honestly, it actually really opened my eyes to how many faults I had when it came to like how I manage my finances and things like that. But also it taught me volumes about being prepared for things, like, because you don't know when an opportunity is gonna come your way. Do you know what I mean? And if you stop before that opportunity comes, it's going to land on somebody else, just like what you're describing from your book. So I don't know, it's a lesson. Think about it. Yeah.
Is there anything, like, what are you most excited about at the moment for, like, in the near future or like further future? Like,
This is
what are
a
you
great
excited
question.
about?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things. So I'm excited about graduating in a year from now.
You might say
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exciting. But I think what excites me the most about that is I don't know what my future is going to look like. And I, like, that would have terrified me a couple of years ago, but now it's really exciting because it's like I have finally accepted that I can create the path that I want to walk in, and I don't need to walk in a particular, like, subscribed, or rather not subscribed, but kind of pre-made pathway or something. So I'm really excited to see what the future holds in that regard. Very excited to hold this conference for my nonprofit. Like, it's super duper exciting. It's going to be happening in August. So I've been trying to get all the different pieces together, organize speakers for it, find ways to engage the young people who are coming. So that's like,
it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, thank you. And it's actually my first time like actually hosting an event, as in like organizing it from scratch. So it's all so new, like so new, talking to so many people, trying to put all the pieces
I bet that's
together.
a lot, pulling everything together.
It's a lot. It's way more than I expected to be, but I'm excited to see what it turns out to. And I think I'm also, as in, like, the reason I'm here in the UK right now is because I'm hosting a workshop with Apple tomorrow.
Oh my God, amazing.
Which is crazy. Like, it's going to be in Covent Garden. So it's one of their Today at Apple sessions. And that's actually huge for me because
Congratulations.
Thank you. I've always been, like, I've always loved speaking, and I've always loved being able to help people, like, give people the tools that they need to be able to, I don't know, find their own sort of success. And that's kind of the theme that we're going to be doing for the workshop tomorrow. Perfect. So I'm super duper excited. Like, we went to the store, the Covent Garden store today, and I almost like cried, like seeing everything, like looking at the big screen and seeing my picture on it. I was like, what the heck?
It must feel like so surreal, you know, like, especially when you're there in person, you know? And you're like, oh my God, like, this is actually happening.
It's like, how? Like, literally how? And it's just so mad. And I think it all just kind of goes back to the thing that we've just been talking about. If you don't put yourself out there, you don't know what's going to end up happening. You know, when I posted that first YouTube video in 2015, there is no realm of imagination where I envisioned myself speaking and being the keynote speaker at an Apple event in one of their busiest stores in London. Like, bear in mind, I'm not even from London. Like, everything about this is so crazy. So I'm just kind of, excited for what the future has. And We'll see. Yeah.
It's so well deserved. Yeah, everything.
That's so
You're
sweet.
so inspiring, honestly. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me. I've actually loved this conversation.
Yeah,
you have
me
such
too.
a calming energy. It's actually amazing.
Thank
Like, I
you.
love talking to you.
You
So I'm
too,
like,
though. Yeah.
this has been so good.
Thank you guys for watching.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.